Presentation of surgical infection. Major and minor surgical site infection, SSI. Infection acquired from the environment or the staff following surgery or admission to hospital is termed hospital-acquired infection, HAIR. There are four main groups. Respiratory infections, including ventilator-associated pneumonia, urinary tract infections, mostly related to urinary catheters. Bacteremia, mostly related to indwelling vascular catheters, and CIS. A major SSI is DFNID is a wound that either discharges significant quantities of pus spontaneously or needs a secondary procedure to drain it, figure 5.4. The patient may have systemic signs such as tachycardia, pyrexia and a raised white cell count. Major wound infections filled circle significant quantity of pus filled circle delayed return home filled circle patients are systemically ill. Gut failure, colonization and translocation related to the development of systemic inflammatory response syndrome, SIRS, and multiple organ dysfunction syndrome, MODS. EEL, interleukin, TNF, tumor necrosis factor. Colonization by aerobic gram-negative bacilli, in gut failure and starvation. Translocation, figure 5.4 major wound infection. Failure of gut-associated lymphoid tissue, villus atrophy. Mesenteric nodes. Release of endotoxin. Macrophage. IL-6, TNF, etc. Cytokine release. MODS. SIRS. Minor wound infections may discharge pus or infected serous fluid but are not associated with excessive discomfort, systemic signs or delay in return home. Localized infection abscess. An abscess presents all the clinical features of acute inflammation originally described by Celsus: calor, heat, rubor, redness, dolor, pain, and tumor, swelling. To these can be added functionalisa, loss of function. If it hurts, the infected part is not used. Abscesses usually follow a puncture wound of some kind, which may have been forgotten, as well as surgery, but can be metastatic in all tissues following bacteremia. Pyogenic organisms, predominantly Staphylococcus aureus, cause tissue necrosis and suppuration. Pus is composed of dead and dying white blood cells, predominantly neutrophils, that have succumbed to bacterial toxins. An abscess is surrounded by an acute inflammatory response composed of ephedrous exudate, edema and the cells of acute inflammation. Granulation tissue, macrophages, ephedroblasts and new blood vessel proliferation, forms later around the suppurative process and leads to collagen deposition. If it is not drained or resorbed completely, a chronic abscess may result. If it is partly sterilized with empirical antibiotics, an antibioma may form. Abscesses contain hyperosmolar material that draws in fluid. This increases the pressure and causes pain. If they spread, they usually track along planes of least resistance and point towards the skin. Wound abscesses may discharge spontaneously by tracking to a surface but may need drainage through a surgical incision. Most abscesses relating to surgical wounds take 7 to 10 days to form after surgery. As many as 75% of CIS present after the patient has left hospital and may thus be overlooked by the surgical team. Abscess cavities need cleaning out after incision and drainage and are traditionally encouraged to heal by secondary intention. When the cavity is left open to drain freely, there is no need for antibiotic therapy as well. Antibiotics should be used if the abscess cavity is closed after drainage, but the cavity should not be closed if there is any risk of retained loculi or foreign material. Thus a perianal abscess can be incised and drained, the wall skirted and the skin closed with good results using appropriate antibiotic therapy, but a pilonidal abscess has a higher recurrence risk after such treatment because a nidus of hair may remain in the subcutaneous tissue adjacent to the abscess. Some small breast abscesses can be managed by simple needle aspiration of the pus and antibiotic therapy. Persistent chronic abscesses may lead to sinus or fistula formation. In a chronic abscess, lymphocytes and plasma cells are seen. There is tissue sequestration and later calcification may occur. Certain organisms are associated with chronicity and with sinus and fistula formation. Common ones are Mycobacterium and Actinomyces. They should not be forgotten when these complications occur and persist. Perianastomotic contamination may be the cause of an abscess, but, in the abdomen, abscesses are more usually the result of anastomotic leakage. An abscess in a deep cavity such as the pleura or peritoneum may be difficult to diagnose or locate even when there is strong clinical suspicion that it is. Present, Figure 5.8. Plain or contrast radiographs may not be helpful, but ultrasonography, computed tomography, CT, magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, and isotope-labeled white cell scans are all useful and may allow image-guided aspiration and drainage of intra-abdominal abscesses without the need for surgical intervention. Abscesses filled circle abscesses need drainage filled circle modern imaging techniques may allow guided needle aspiration, e.g. ultrasound-guided drainage of breast abscesses. Filled circle antibiotics are indicated if the abscess cavity is not left open to drain freely. Filled circle and open abscess cavity heals by secondary intention. Cellulitis and lymphangitis. Cellulitis is a non-suppurative, invasive infection of tissues, which is usually related to the point of injury. There is poor localization in addition to the cardinal signs of spreading inflammation. Such infections presenting in surgical practice are typically caused by organisms such as beta hemolytic streptococci, Figure 5.9, staphylococci, Figure 5.10, and Clostridium perfringens. Tissue destruction, gangrene and ulceration may follow, which are caused by release of proteases. Systemic signs, the old-fashioned term osteochemia, are common, with chills, fever and rigors. These events follow the release of toxins into the circulation, which stimulate a cytokine-mediated systemic inflammatory response even though blood cultures may be negative. Lymphangitis is part of a similar process and presents as painful red streaks in affected lymphatics draining the source of infection. Lymphangitis is often accompanied by painful lymph node groups in the related drainage area, e.g. cervical, axillary or inguinal. Cellulitis and lymphangitis filled circle non-suppurative, poorly localized filled circle commonly caused by streptococci, staphylococci or Clostridia filled circle blood cultures are often negative. Specificity local wound infections gas gangrene is caused by Clostridium perfringens. These gram-positive, anaerobic, spore-bearing bacilli are widely found in nature, particularly in soil and feces. Patients who are immunocompromised, diabetic or have malignant disease are at greater risk, particularly if they have wounds containing necrotic or foreign material, resulting in anaerobic conditions. Military wounds provide an ideal environment as the kinetic energy of high-velocity missiles or shrapnel causes extensive tissue damage. The cavitation which follows passage of a missile through the tissues causes a sucking entry wound, leaving clothing and environmental soiling in the wound in addition to devascularized tissue. Gas gangrene wound infections are associated with severe local wound pain and crepitus, gas in the tissues, which may also be visible on plain radiographs. The wound produces a thin, brown, sweet-smelling exudate, in which gram staining will reveal bacteria. Edema and spreading gangrene follow the release of collagenase, hyaluronidase, other proteases and alpha-toxin. Early systemic complications with circulatory collapse and organ failure follow if prompt action is not taken. Summary box 5.9. Antibiotic prophylaxis should always be considered in patients at risk, especially when amputations are performed for peripheral vascular disease with open necrotic ulceration. Once gas gangrene infection is established, large doses of intravenous penicillin and aggressive debridement of affected tissues are required. Gas gangrene filled circle caused by Clostridium perfringens. Filled circle gas and smell are characteristic. Filled circle immunocompromised patients are most at risk. Filled circle antibiotic prophylaxis is essential when performing amputations to remove dead tissue. Clostridium tetani. This is another anaerobic, terminal spore-bearing, gram-positive bacterium, which can cause tetanus following implantation into tissues or a wound. The spores are widespread in soil and manure. The signs and symptoms of tetanus are mediated by the release of the exotoxin tetanospasmin. These include spasms in the distribution of the short motor nerves of the face followed by the development of severe generalized motor spasms including opisthotonus, respiratory arrest and death. Prophylaxis with tetanus toxoid is the best preventative treatment, but, in an established infection, minor debridement of the wound may need to be performed and antibiotic treatment with benzylpenicillin provided in addition. Relaxants may also be required and the patient will require ventilation in severe forms, which are associated with a high mortality. Synergistic spreading gangrene, synonym, subdermal gangrene, necrotizing fasciitis. This is a rare but serious bacterial infection that affects and spreads via the deep fascia, hence, it is termed fasciitis. A mixed pattern of organisms is responsible for the serious condition. Coliforms, Staphylococci, bacteroids SPP, anaerobic streptococci and peptostreptococci have all been implicated, acting in synergy. Often, aerobic bacteria destroy the living tissue, allowing anaerobic bacteria to thrive. Severe wound pain, signs of spreading inflammation with crepitus and odor are all signs of the infection spreading. Untreated, it will lead to widespread local gangrene and systemic multisystem organ failure. Abdominal wall infections are known as Melanese synergistic gangrene and scrotal infections as Fournier's gangrene, figure 5.11. Patients are almost always immunocompromised, with conditions such as diabetes mellitus. The wound initiating the infection may have been minor, but severely contaminated wounds are more likely to be the cause. The subdermal spread of gangrene is always much more extensive than appears from initial examination. The Effenger test can be used in the diagnosis of patients who present with suspected necrotizing fasciitis. The area of suspected involvement is FRST infiltrated with local anesthesia. A 2 cm incision is made in the skin down to the deep fascia. Lack of bleeding is a sign of necrotizing fasciitis. On some occasions, a dishwater-colored fluid is noticed seeping from the wound. A gentle, probing maneuver with the index Effenger covered by a sterile glove is then performed at the level of the deep fascia. If the tissues dissect with minimal resistance, the Effenger test is positive. Tissue biopsies are then sent for frozen section analysis. The characteristic histological findings are obliterative vasculitis of the subcutaneous vessels, acute inflammation and subcutaneous tissue necrosis. If either the Effenger test or rapid frozen section analysis is positive, or if the patient has progressive clinical findings consistent with necrotizing fasciitis, immediate operative treatment must be initiated. Broad-spectrum antibiotic therapy must be combined with Aggressive circulatory support. Locally, there should be wide excision of necrotic tissue and laying open of affected areas. The debridement may need to be extensive, and patients who survive may need large areas of skin grafting later. Systemic infection. Bacteremia. Bacteremia is unusual following superficial cysts, which tend to drain through the wound, but common after deep space cysts, such as following an intestinal anastomotic breakdown. It is usually transient and can follow procedures undertaken through infected tissues, particularly instrumentation in infected bile or urine. It may also occur through bacterial infection of indwelling intravenous cannulae, which should be replaced regularly to avoid colonization. Bacteremia is important when a prosthesis has been implanted, as infection of the prosthesis can occur through hematogenous spread. Aerobic gram-negative bacilli are often responsible, but Staphylococcus aureus and fungi may be involved. Bacteremia. Filled circle. Common after anastomotic breakdown. Filled circle. Filled circle. Dangerous if the patient has a prosthesis, which can become infected. May be associated with systemic organ failure. Systemic inflammatory response syndrome. Figure 5.11. A classic presentation of Fournier's gangrene of the scrotum with shame. Manifestation of sepsis. Table 5.1. Although the syndrome may also be caused by multiple trauma, burns or pancreatitis without infection. Serious infection, such as secondary peritonitis, may lead to SIRS through the release of lipopolysaccharide endotoxin from the walls of dying gram-negative bacilli, mainly Escherichia coli, or other bacteria or fungi. This and other toxins stimulate the release of cytokines from macrophages. Figure 5.6. SIRS should not be confused with bacteremia, although the two may coexist. Definitions of systemic inflammatory response syndrome, SIRS, and sepsis. SIRS is presence of 2 out of 3 of the following: filled circle hypothermia, greater than 38 degrees Celsius, or hypothermia, less than 36 degrees Celsius, filled circle tachycardia, greater than 90 per minute, no beta blockers, or tachypnea, greater than 20 per minute, filled circle white cell count greater than 12 times 109 liter or less than 4 times 109 liter. Sepsis is SIRS with a documented source of infection. Severe sepsis or sepsis syndrome is sepsis with evidence of failure of one or more organs. Respiratory, acute respiratory distress syndrome, cardiovascular, septic shock follows compromise of cardiac function and fall in peripheral vascular resistance, renal, usually acute tubular necrosis, hepatic, blood coagulation systems or central nervous system. Septic manifestations and multiple organ dysfunction syndrome, MODS, in SIRS are mediated by the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines such as interleukin-1, IL-1, and tumor necrosis factor alpha, TNF-alpha. These cytokines normally stimulate neutrophil adhesion to endothelial surfaces adjacent to the source of infection and cause them to migrate through the blood vessel wall by chemotaxis, where they can attack the bacterial invasion. A respiratory burst occurs within such activated neutrophils, releasing lysosomal enzymes, oxidants and free radicals, which are involved in killing the invading bacteria but which may also damage adjacent cells. Coagulation, complement and fibrinolytic pathways are also stimulated as part of the normal inflammatory response. This response is usually beneficial to the host and is an important aspect of normal tissue repair and wound healing. On occasions, this response may become harmful to the host if it occurs in excess, when it is known as the systemic inflammatory response syndrome or SIRS. There are high circulating levels of cytokines and activated neutrophils that stimulate fever, tachycardia and tachypnea. The activated neutrophils adhere to vascular endothelium in key organs remote from the source of infection and damage it, leading to increased vascular permeability, which in turn leads to cellular damage within the organs, which become dysfunctional and give rise to the clinical picture of multiple organ dysfunction syndrome or MODS. In its most severe form, MODS may progress into multiple system organ failure, MSOF. Respiratory, cardiac, intestinal, renal and liver failure ensue in combination with circulatory failure and shock. In this state, the body's resistance to infection is reduced and a vicious cycle develops where the more organs that fail, the more likely it becomes that death will follow despite all that a modern ICU can do for organ support. Definitions of infected states. Filled circle SSI is an infected wound or deep organ space. Filled circle SIRS is the body's systemic response to severe infection. Filled circle MODS is the effect that SIRS produces systemically. Filled circle MSOF is the end stage of uncontrolled MODS. Surviving Sepsis Campaign, Sepsis Bundle, Sepsis 6. The European Society of Intensive Care Medicine, ESICM, alongside the Society of Critical Care Medicine, SCCM, spearheaded the Surviving Sepsis Campaign, SSC, in 2002 with several aims, including the development of guidelines for the diagnosis, treatment and post-ICU care of sepsis and a reduction in mortality from sepsis. The Surviving Sepsis Campaign continually develops and updates resources and implementation tools to further its mission of reducing sepsis and septic shock. The Sepsis Bundle, also known as the Resuscitation Bundle, is a combination of evidence-based objectives that must be completed within 6 hours for patients presenting with severe sepsis, septic shock and/or lactate greater than 4 millimoles L. The Sepsis 6 is the name given to a bundle of medical therapies designed to reduce mortality in patients with sepsis. Drawn from international guidelines that emerged from the Surviving Sepsis Campaign, the Sepsis 6 was developed by the UK's Sepsis Trust. The components of the Sepsis 6 are: Filled circle give 3 to patients. 1. Intravenous fluid challenge. 2. Intravenous antibiotics. 3. Oxygen and monitor urine output. Filled circle take 3 from patients. 4. Blood cultures. 5. Full blood count. 6. Lactate.